SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
State Treasurer David McRae is returning record amounts of money to Mississippians, whether it's through the College and Career Savings Program or the hundreds of millions in unclaimed money awaiting your claim. Treasurer David McRae says get your applications and claims in today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Good morning. Welcome. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, and I'm glad to be with you. We are glad to be with you. Glad to be starting a new day, starting a new week. Today is the 21st day of July, and it is going to be hot. Not just today, but really throughout the week. Feels good to be back in what I think is the normal place. After being at SEC Media Days last week in Atlanta, kind of being out of the home studio, and going back to the week before that, the last Thursday show we did was at Palmer Home. It feels like it's been a while since in like the chair where everything feels right and all the buttons are where they're supposed to be. So it's great to be with you this morning. Good morning, Lance.
Welcome back home, man. It's been a while, it seems like. It's like the Dave Dudley song, 6 Days on the Road. You've been burning it up, huh? Yeah,
it's like we've been together, and we've had time together for the last couple of weeks, but it kind of feels back how it's supposed to be this morning, and appreciate you joining the conversation. A conversation that never stops on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. Some things change. That never does. Well, except for the fact that C Spire is constantly changing, like with game-changing technology. You need C Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber home internet, business IT solutions built as tough as you. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. Chairman Trey Lamar is going to join us this morning in the 7 o'clock hour. JT Mitchell will be by later on in the 8 o'clock hour. We have much to discuss today. Man, what a news-heavy weekend. It just kept going and going and going, and really it started on Friday, and we're going to try and cover as much of that with you as we can. Good news is we got the entire week. Hernando, generally sunny today, despite a few afternoon clouds. Those will likely be welcome. High today, 96 degrees, winds out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Greenwood, same thing for you, 96, light breeze. Raleigh, a little farther south in the state, 97 degrees for a high with winds out of the west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. How about Columbia, Mississippi? High today, around 100 degrees. Triple digits, a very real possibility today in Columbia. Winds light and variable. We are entering into the time, Lance, when the Weather Channel tells us that we have a heat dome. Another heat dome of high pressure, spreading dangerous heat and humidity from the south into the parts of the Midwest throughout the week. Upper Midwest, Northeast, going to get a little bit of a break, but that doesn't help us. The heat wave may have some staying power as well, all the way into the last weekend of July in the plains and the south, slowly expanding even west toward the Rockies. Longer range outlook suggests that, again, it's the Northeast that's going to get a little bit of a break. Just a few reminders. Why not? Just a few reminders for you. Heat is the number one weather killer in the United States. Hundreds of fatalities each year. The combination of heat and humidity lingering into the night for several days in a row is dangerous for those without access to air conditioning. Hopefully that is not you. Try to avoid being outdoors for long periods of time, especially in the peak of the afternoon heat. And if not, take a lot of breaks. Don't go crazy outside. Drink more water than usual. Wear loose, lightweight clothing. Why so hot? A strong bubble of high pressure aloft known as a heat dome is what we are dealing with. Sinking air near the center of the heat dome suppresses clouds. Sounds apocalyptic. Allowing the intense sunshine this time of year to heat the ground and air above it most efficiently. Southerly winds of the heat dome pull increasingly hot and humid air north. And then they may circulate that oppressive air to the east and to the northern rim of the heat dome. Sometimes that means thunderstorms pop up, and you get some of the flooding that goes along with it as well.
You sure this isn't
said
HAARP?
differently? Yes, said differently. Mississippi in the summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a big conspiracy theorist fan. I love the HAARP stuff. Playing with the environment and creating tornadoes and weaponizing the weather and stuff.
You're talking about cloud seeding?
Yeah, well, that's part of it, right? But yeah, HAARP, the High Altitude Auroral Frequency Program.
Oh yeah,
the big antenna.
Yeah,
or many of them. But no, that you got all technical this morning. I was reading that, going, "Goodness gracious, this is some. This is what kind of meteorological report I should be putting out every day." But I'm not nearly as skilled at that. But yeah, it's hot, man. I can tell you.
It's just a little copy and paste out of a Word document on a.
Hey, buddy, I was sitting out last night, and I can't tell you how suffocating it is down here in central Mississippi. I don't know if up there in the northern lands y'all were feeling the same thing, but I never could cool off at all yesterday. It didn't matter if it was sun or nighttime. It was so hot, so I could tell it was coming, man. Because I think today you better be careful too, because I'm telling you, it was cooking out there yesterday.
Not the day for me to wait until 3:00 to fire up the weed eater.
No, I got up at 8:30 yesterday and got the yard mowed. I could tell. I was like, I'm done with this thing at about 9:30, man. I'm out.
George Machine Gun Kelly was born on this day in 1900, the American gangster during the Prohibition era, born in Memphis, Tennessee. Nelson Mandela, born on this day in 1918, the South African anti-apartheid activist. Spent, good grief, 28 years in prison. Political prisoner from 1962 until 1990. Finally released from prison, and 4 years later he was named president of South Africa, born in Mvezo Umtata, South Africa. American astronaut John Glenn was born on this day in 1921, the first American to orbit the Earth, and later became a politician, senator from Ohio, born in Cambridge, Ohio. I feel like this one's up your alley. Hunter S. Thompson, born on this day in 1937.
Yeah, I love that dude.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, born in Louisville, Kentucky.
What a crazy man, too. Got to love him. I mean, you take that kind of brain and give him a journalist's heart. Oh, man. Get some content there. You also have like 3 funny men today. I want you to skip over John Lovitz, Robin Williams, and Don Knotts. That's kind of big-time comedy boys there, yeah.
Yes. The great Don Knotts.
John Lovitz, man, you can't sleep on him. He's pretty dang funny.
Sir Nick Faldo, born on this day in 1957, 68 years old. English, won the Masters in 1989, again in 1990, also in 1996. He was a British Open champion 3 times as well, 87, 90, and 92. Vin Diesel of the Fast and Furious franchise, born in 1967. He's 58 today. Alameda County, California. How many different Fast and Furious movies have there been?
32, I think.
Okay.
And it's been wonderful for everyone that loves to follow the rules on the roadway. Mm-hmm. I think that's been a great contributing factor to
good example. And let's see, Kristen Bell, 45 years old, 1980, American actress. Veronica Mars, Frozen. She was born in Huntington Woods, Michigan. Tom Jackson says, "Don't make Nelson Mandela a hero. Research his atrocities." Yeah, I don't think I was making him a hero, just telling you that he was born on this day. Tell you some other things that have happened this day. 1864, President Abraham Lincoln asked for 500,000 volunteers for military service. Ty Cobb recorded his 4,000th career hit on this day in 1927. He is still number 2 on the all-time hits list in Major League Baseball. Finished his career with 4,189 hits. On this day in 1953, Elvis Presley paid $3.98 to make his first demo at Sun Studios in Memphis, recording My Happiness, and That's When Your Heartache Begins. And what did he do with those songs? What did he do with that record? Well, he forgot to get his mom a birthday present, and so it became, that record did, a belated birthday present for his mom. Good a thing as I could imagine to do with your very first record if you are Elvis Presley.
It may have had something to do with, when you treat mama right, you might have a great career in music.
Mm-hmm. This day in 1976, Nadia Comaneci, or Comaneci if you prefer, at the age of 14, became the first gymnast in Olympic Games history to achieve a perfect 10 score. In fact, she did it 7 times in the Montreal Games. And there was disappointment at first. When her score posted, it did not show a 10. In fact, if I remember correctly, it showed a 1. And there was this look of dismay around the arena. What happened? Turned out the scoreboard that they were using at the time was not formatted for a perfect 10. They changed it after Nadia Comaneci. Mornings of Richard Cross. We're back with you right after this.
From the Venable Glass Trap.
Take a deep dive into the news and debates driving the day, all on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
ICC is a ticking on down the line. Well, I'm a little overweight and my logbook's way behind. But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge all the scales all right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Good morning. Mornings with Richard Cross. It is hard to get anything by you. Intrepid, locked in, engaged just after 6 a.m. Apparently, at about 11 o'clock last night, when I was going through the list of birthdays and things that happened on this day in history, I was off on my calendar. I gave you the stuff from Friday. And we get a message that says, I think I may be wrong, but I think the birthdays and historical events that you just finished with were on the air this past Friday. That's from Mark.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I don't know how I screwed that up last night, but clearly I did. I am
testing you this morning.
Well, that's on me. I can tell you that Robin Williams was born on this day in 1951. American actor and comedian with, you remember Mork and Mindy? Jumanji, Dead Poet Society, Good Will Hunting. Oh, what a Good Morning Vietnam.
Too many. I mean, one of my favorites. I didn't know if I really appreciated him as much when I was younger. He seemed very manic and all over the place. But, when you see him in a movie, and he's just like Hook. And there's so many different versions of that personality that you see it as,
Mrs.
what
Doubtfire.
it was. Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, I was trying to come up. You had the first to do that was Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie, but then you had Mrs. Doubtfire, and 2 great movies. But watching him play so many various roles and master them, and then watching him sit up there with Jonathan Johnny Carson and Jonathan Winters, and those, just watching him be himself. It was just this. Nobody's ever been like that, I don't think. I mean, that's a one-of-a-kind human being, and the world misses him a lot more, I think, than we think. What a unique
probably than we
talent.
Realized when he was with us.
Yeah, I mean, what a unique talent. I mean, show me anybody that can do what he was doing, for so long. Now, you just don't see it. And a big fan.
Yeah. Larry says he felt like he was having a coast-to-coast parallel universe moment when I was giving birthdays. So,
I kind of did, too. I was looking over going, I remember a couple of these from Friday.
There was also Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam.
I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that one so many times.
I felt like last week in Atlanta We were kind of across the aisle from Robin. You know, the loud guy from South Carolina,
Adrian Cronauer. Yeah,
yeah. All I was waiting was for "Good morning, Atlanta, Georgia." We didn't quite.
You should have done that. That would have
been something. That would have been something. All right. Well, just kind of scrap all that. Although I just wanted a reason to play this, and I think I'll do it anyway. I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to pretend like today is Friday so that I can press play on this. Yeah.
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? Can't you tell that your tie's too wide?
Billy Joel's Glass Houses on Friday topped the U.S. charts, featuring the song
Where have you been hiding out lately, honey? You can't dress trash until you spend a lot of money.
Still rock and roll to me.
Talking about the new sound funny, but it's still rock and roll to me.
I want to get you tapping your foot a little bit.
I love Billy Joel.
And just because, I know it happened on Friday and I'm off and we can just make fun of me now, but I still want to mention this because why not? On Friday, that was the anniversary of 1984's Walter Mondale winning the Democratic Party presidential nomination in San Francisco. Do you think he knew how bad it was going to be when he said, "I am honored to be your Democrat Party candidate for president of the United States," only to go on and lose 535-13 in the Electoral College?
Yeah, that's a retirement present there.
Whew, brother. 535-13. He carried his home state of Minnesota by 0.2 of a point, and he got the 3 votes out of D.C. Horrible news.
You think he spent $1 billion+ to do that?
I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
I'm going to go with no. Heartbreaking news for many to wake up to yesterday. A University of Mississippi football player was killed on Saturday night in a shooting right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Corey Adams, a freshman, one of 5 people that was shot. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office responded to reports of gunfire outside a residence on Fern Gland Cove in Cordova around 10:15 Saturday night. That's where they found Adams, who was pronounced dead after life-saving measures were attempted by first responders. He was the only fatality from the incident. Shelby County Sheriff's Office said 4 other adult males were transported to local hospitals by private vehicles, and all are listed in non-critical condition. According to the Ole Miss Athletics site, Adams was a defensive end who enrolled this past January. He was majoring in freshman studies, a 3-star prospect out of Edna Carr in New Orleans. This was going to be his first collegiate football season upcoming. The Edna Carr football program remembered Adams as a friend, brother, son, student, and all-around great young man. Ole Miss, in a statement, said, "We are devastated that Corey Adams, a freshman on the team, passed away last night in Cordova, Tennessee. Our program is trying to cope with this tragic loss. Our thoughts were with his loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Out of respect for the family, we will not be commenting further. We ask the Ole Miss community to keep Corey in their thoughts and respect the privacy of everyone involved." No suspect yet named in that senseless shooting right outside of Memphis in Cordova on Saturday night. Man, we've said this many times before. All loss of life is sad. It's awful. When you lose a young person, regardless of the circumstances, it goes to a different place, like emotionally for you. Because you're like, they had everything in front of them. Literally about to begin his freshman year in college as an SEC football player, and just gone. Just like that, gone. An investigation is underway after an officer-involved shooting in Tupelo left a person dead. The MBI is heading the case. They announced that the incident happened Saturday afternoon near the intersection of McCullough Boulevard and Interstate 22. Officers with the Verona Police Department responded to a call to help a neighboring law enforcement agency in pursuit of a vehicle believed to have a hostage inside. The suspect's vehicle wrecked before the driver got out and allegedly brandished a weapon. Verona officers are then said to have fired their guns at the suspect, who was identified Sunday as Jawan Harris, the 31-year-old from Nettleton. Did not make it. Pronounced dead at North Mississippi Medical Center shortly after the shooting. This is the start of Shark Week. It actually began yesterday. 38th consecutive year that Discovery Channel has celebrated Shark Week. They'll zero in on the finned creatures. And the Mississippi Aquarium is joining in by pulling back the curtain on the oft-misunderstood animals. Shark Week debuted in 1987, just months after the fourth installment of the cult big screen saga Jaws. Steven Spielberg blockbusters captivated audiences and made two ominous notes synonymous with the toothy fish. Do you know what those notes were? Of course you do. Da-da. Much of the attention was detrimental, resulting in a sharp rise in trophy hunting and public fear surrounding the animals. The Atlantic Ocean's shark population decreased by nearly 50% in the decade following the release of the movie series Jaws. Discovery Shark Week has transitioned away from much of the sensational depiction of sharks as bloodthirsty man-eaters in the last decade. Voices in the marine conservation community have won out, leading to many myths busted and a more positive light shining on the swimmers of the sea. As far as sharks in Mississippi, yeah, we've got them, but not a lot of incidents. Only 4 shark encounters in Mississippi of unprovoked attacks since 1837, and only 2 of those 4 have been fatal. Species in local waters range from the more common mid-sized species like sharp-nosed or black-nosed sharks to the larger tiger sharks and bull sharks. And then in some deeper waters, you can even find hammerheads off the Magnolia State's coast. 5th Annual Shark Weekend, which is this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, July 26th and 27th, will offer a host of fin-filled activities, opportunities to learn from experts like the University of Southern Miss's shark research teams, plus crafts and games. Some sharks can swim up to 46 miles per hour. Others can glow in the dark. Some can live up to 400 years. Plenty to explore and learn about at the Mississippi Aquarium this coming weekend for Shark Weekend. Got some national headlines and some sports stories coming up for you. Just getting started Monday morning. Thanks for being with us. We know what day it is now. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
On the sea. Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Why can't you see what you're doing to me? When you don't believe a word I say. We can't go on together with suspicious minds.
Thanks for being with us. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. So we gave you the story last week. You may have read a little bit more about this, of a potential redistricting plan as part of a special session with the Texas state legislature. And remember old tough guy Gavin Newsom said, well, whatever you can do, we can do better. House Democrats are actively preparing for political trench warfare against the GOP in next year's midterm battle, with talks taking shape behind the scenes to mount a counterattack against the power play in Texas that aims to cement GOP control of Washington for the rest of President Trump's second term. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, his political team, they've begun privately shaping a what's described as a legally risky and likely expensive strategy to redraw House maps in several Democratic-controlled states like California, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, Washington State. Wonder if Washington feels slighted. Like we don't have to say Alabama State. We don't have to say Idaho State. We don't have to say
I see where you're going with it. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Wisconsin State. But we have to specify Washington State because of the District of Columbia. Anyway.
Well, think that...
I digress.
I like that. I never even thought of it that way, really. But without, the immigrants and people breaking in all the time and millions of them, it seems like now redistricting seems to be the game for the Democrats, right?
It's a clear attempt at retaliation against the GOP's aggressive redistricting effort to boot out as many as 5 Democrats in Texas, a move that will get publicly underway this week, and one that has the potential to give Republicans a major leg up in their fight to keep control of the House. We know it's a slim majority right now for the elephants over the donkeys. In an interview at the DNC headquarters in Washington, Jeffries made clear that his party was ready to respond in kind to the GOP. We have a responsibility of making sure that we look at every single state of the union and do what we can to ensure that we maximize fairness in those jurisdictions. That according to the New York Democrat. Especially since the redrawing of congressional maps typically happens only at the beginning of a decade to reflect changing populations and demographics. Jeffrey says that some of the brightest lawyers anywhere are taking a close look at this and mounting all the legal remedies and what is possible in these states.
Yeah, a lot of billing going on, too, I'm sure.
Probably.
Getting paid well.
Probably so. In fact, let me let you hear Hakeem Jeffries in his own words, because he creates a clear delineation between what it is that Republicans are doing and what it is that Democrats are doing. You definitely should hear this.
And these Republicans are trying to disenfranchise millions of voters in Texas as part of a scheme to rig the midterm election. Mm-hmm. What we're committed to doing as Democrats in New York, in California, in New Jersey, across the country, is make sure that the congressional maps are as fair as possible.
Oh, good. All right, so Republicans are trying to disenfranchise. We, the Democrats, just so you understand what's going on here, we are trying to make sure that this is fair. Even House Democrats privately acknowledge that their emerging plan may be all moot if it's blocked in court, according to more than a dozen Democratic lawmakers and campaign operatives involved in the discussions. Others are wary of eschewing the party's decades-long push for fair voting rights and commissions in states that attempt to draw their congressional boundaries free from partisan politics. Got some oceanfront property.
It's rich, though, to be lectured about voting districts and by the Democrats who tried to water them all down and allow illegals to vote wherever, whenever, however many times they wanted to.
Astronomer CEO Andy Byron resigned on Saturday after the kiss cam video of him reportedly embracing the company's HR chief at a Coldplay concert went viral, sparking allegations of infidelity. Astronomer confirmed this news on its LinkedIn page, because where else would you go to confirm the news? They said, as stated previously, Astronomer is committed to the values and culture that have guided us since our founding. Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard was not met. Andy Byron has tendered his resignation, and the board of directors has accepted. The board will begin a new search for CEO. In addition, the company confirmed Byron has actually not issued any statements or apologies in response to the fake apologies circulating online. It also clarified that another senior employee, Alyssa Stoddard, who has been dragged into this mess, was actually not at the concert despite online allegations. I mean, the memes.
Oh, that was they're gold.
Oh, the memes. It's time for your morning sports update brought to you.
Sorry, I have to say, did you see his post before he resigned stating that, he was sorry, but at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. That it wasn't real.
Yeah, but at the same time, you should.
Yeah. Probably blame Coldplay on this.
Yeah, blame Coldplay. Man, that guy's rich, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, he's gone now. He's gone.
Here's your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Find them in person, right outside of Philadelphia, Choctaw, Mississippi. Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, Geyser Falls Water Park, poker, great food, family fun, casino thrills. They've got it all at Pearl River Resort. Know the traffic's going to pick up there in the next week or so as the Neshoba County Fair gets rolling as well. And a lot of folks make their way over to Dancing Rabbit or perhaps to the water park just to cool off a little bit. Some of your sports headlines. Scotty Scheffler wins the Open at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Had all the time in the world to celebrate that victory because it was never in question. Carded a 68 yesterday to cruise to a 4-stroke victory in the Open Championship. Outcome never really in doubt. Number one player in the world finished 17 under par. Total score of 267, winning the third leg of the career Grand Slam and his fourth major championship. I heard a stat, a factoid yesterday. I'll give that to you, Lance. I know you're waiting on pins and needles. In the 4 major championships this year, Scotty Scheffler leads all golfers in cumulative score. We're talking about the Masters, the PGA, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. He is 32 shots under par across those 4 championships. That is 20 shots better than the next golfer. Now, look, they don't give a trophy for cumulative score in major championships in a given year. But nobody's played better or more consistent across the 4. 32 under across the 4 championships this year. The next closest, Bryson DeChambeau at 12 under, 20 strokes back.
It's amazing. He has been on fire, too. I don't remember. It's been a while, almost long enough where I can't remember when he hadn't been playing this well. Scotty.
It's only been since 2022.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Scheffler tapped in for par on the final hole, making it all look so routine. Met there by his wife, Meredith, his 15-month-old son, Bennett, who seems to be stealing the show on a week-in, week-out basis. He's just 29 years old. He becomes the 4th player in Open Championship history to shoot 68 or better in all 4 rounds, joining Colin Morikawa, Henrik Stenson, and Jesper Parnevik. He's already won the PGA by 5 shots this year. He won the Masters last year by 4. He won the Masters in 2022 by 3. Before Sunday, no one had ever won each of their first 4 major titles by 3 shots or more. Also became the 3rd golfer to win multiple majors by 4 or more strokes in a single year. The others, Ben Hogan, Tiger Woods.
Scheffler felt like, to me, he just kind of came out of nowhere, in 2022, he just became, all of a sudden, the greatest golfer in the game. And I don't remember much about him. New Jersey guy, but I just...
Texas guy.
He was born in New Jersey.
Oh, he's a Texan.
I got to give him credit, though. He's a Garden Stater.
Scheffler's won 20 times since February of 2022. This was the 11th straight time that he had won when carrying a lead into the final round as the 54-hole leader. Those are that's one of your sports headlines. We'll work a couple of more in for you this morning. We've got a lottery update for you and more. Good to be with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, rolling through this 6 a.m. hour.
Louisiana woman, Mississippi man, we get together every time we can. And Mississippi River can't keep us apart. There's too much love in this Mississippi heart.
Too much love in this Louisiana heart. Well, I thought I'd been left, but
From the Venable Glass.
Good morning, Mississippi. You're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
That's the music that reminds you it's time for a lottery update. Lance, I feel like I just kind of won the lottery. Small one. You remember on Thursday we had the state treasurer on, David McRae. And I still had a tab open on my computer from the whole unclaimed property thing.
Oh, yeah.
It showed 4 different unclaimed property items that I had simply by entering, name and information and looking them up. Claimed them. It sent me the email. All I got to do is upload a picture of my driver's license to prove it's me, and I got money coming my way.
Yeah, well,
I mean, not a lot. Let's see. There's $50 on one. Again, I don't even know how.
I had a bunch of money, so I'm excited. Yeah, it was like, oh wow, man, I haven't seen that kind of money in a while.
$50 from Office Depot. Looks like an old phone deposit that wasn't returned, and get $300 from that. Something related to insurance. 2 of them related to insurance.
Yeah, I had a couple of insurance ones in there.
One for $152 and one for $87. Yes.
And I went on while I was on air. I went and did that just to display how quickly,
just to prove how easy it is, right?
Because I was talking to the treasurer, and he said, "Man, it shouldn't take but a few minutes." I said, "All right, I'm going to test you on this." And sure enough, I mean, I was like 3 minutes into the second segment of that conversation. I was already done. I was waving at him like, "Yeah, it works. I've got it done."
So you got a comma in your total money coming back to you?
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen 4 figures,
That a boy.
In a bit. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be nice. I just got to finish it up.
Yeah.
It's nice.
No jackpot winner on Saturday night for the Powerball, which means tonight's drawing is worth $308 million. Cash value, $137,700,000. Tuesday night's Mega Millions drawing worth $110 million, $48.4 million in cash value. We got that claims office at the lottery a little busier last week. They had to pay out $1.1 million, while retailers paid out $4.3 million. And also had a couple of, you see that? The $200,000 power play winners? What are the details there?
Well, we had the big money on the Mississippi Match 5 also had a jackpot winner with $701,000 in winnings for the Sunday night drawing. I'm sorry. The ticket was purchased in Leaksville at JR Food Mart, been reset. So, I mean, that's a big one there, coming in hot on a Sunday night drawing, $701,000.
Building slowly for a long time.
That's right. But as far as Match 5, we had the I don't see but about an $800. We had players from Picayune and Nettleton each one, but the players from Meridian and Tupelo both won $1,000. But I don't have any big ones really on the list here.
Well, you remember not one but 2 Mississippi Lottery players scored $100,000 last week because they added the $1 power play option to their Powerball tickets. One lucky ticket sold at Walmart in Corinth, the other at Ramey's in Gaucher. Each matched 4 white balls in the red Powerball for $50,000. Doubled it up to $100,000. Tonight's Powerball jackpot, again, $308 million.
That's when it starts accelerating. You get that $300 million. People like you and Sandsy, they're like, I think I'm going to start buying some tickets.
Yep. 300 million is my number. Once it eclipses 300, I become an active player. I'm not suggesting that that's how you should do it, that you should wait, or that you should start buying at 300 million.
Whatever your theory is, just buy the ticket, huh? You got to buy them to win it.
I mean, the theory is based very, very loosely on my good buddy who told me one time, anything less than 300 million would just make me a jerk.
It'd make me independently wealthy. I would take.
Yes, it would. A couple other things from sports from the weekend. All-Star weekend and the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, all of that now in the rearview mirror. And so your baseball standings as we get into the second half, although we're already past the second half, like the halfway point of league play. Let's see, about 99 games in for most everybody. Blue Jays leading the AL East, 3 games in front of the Yankees, 5 games in front of the Red Sox. Detroit with an 11-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians, at least for now.
Yeah.
Not the 11-game lead,
but
the Guardians, at least for now. But perhaps not if the President of the United States has anything to say about it. Astros lead the West by 4 games. In the National League, Phillies half a game in front of the Mets. Marlins are 9.5 back. The Braves, 12 games below 500, 12.5 out of first place. Cubs and the Brewers are tied atop the NL Central. Out west, the Dodgers have a 3.5 game lead over the Padres. They are 6 in front of the Giants with about 60 or so to go, 60 to 65 games remaining in the regular season. Somebody said, what's that website again?
For the unclaimed, just go to treasury.com, or you can also type in the word .gov, and you can also type in the Google unclaimed, and it'll take you straight to that page. It's the direct link.
I believe it's treasury.ms.gov. Treasury.ms.gov. 7 o'clock hour coming up next.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Want to know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on SuperTalk Mississippi.
July 21st. Thanks for joining us. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. This hour of MRC is brought to you by MWG. MWG Employer Services, that is. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR benefits and payroll, you are not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan. What in the world?
There's some cats fighting.
I don't know where that's coming from. What's going on? My phone just started talking to me. Where was I? MWG Employer Service provides a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. What a weekend.
Get some yard work done? I was saying on Saturday. I was like, man, I hope Richard's up right now getting his yard work done because it's going to be hot. And it was.
Saturday was a good day. Well, when I said what a weekend, I was actually talking about Russia collusion and.
Oh yeah, well we got time to get to that.
But had a project I was helping my son with, so I guess I can tell this story. His grandfather has had a fishing boat for a long time. Like, wanted it not a lottery, but a raffle.
Oh, nice.
Like,
did he have to pay taxes on it or anything?
I don't know. It was like 30 years ago. Yeah. Whether he did or he didn't, I'm sure he did. He's a good tax-paying American citizen. And fishing boat had been unused for a really long time. And Obi, you've heard me say it before. My son loves to fish. And he had been at, can we get a fishing boat? Can we put the fishing boat in the water? We can put the fishing boat. It's just a 12-foot John boat. Just good old fishing boat. And it had an old motor on it. And for, I don't know, birthday or Christmas or something a year or so ago, put a new motor on it. In fact, did it one day when we were on a remote. So had a Mercury, little hand tiller Merc 25 on it. Great motor. Lance, we put that thing in the water, and my first deal was, it had been so long since I had driven a boat motor that had the hand tiller on it. I thought
fun,
about it. Well, yeah, they are fun.
It's a little bit different, though, if you hadn't done it in a bit.
But I was thinking like a motorcycle handle, right? You twist the throttle on a motorcycle, and when you release it, it comes off. No, sir.
Yeah.
Now you got to untwist it with a hand tiller. Thomas says it was overkill to have a 25 on a 12-foot, but maybe it's a 14-foot boat.
You got to get there,
I think
man.
it's 12. Whatever, man.
Got to get there.
So, it didn't get away. We didn't have any trouble, but I felt like this thing could get away. And then this past spring, we put the boat in out at Sardis, and it's one of the, kind of a low-sided John boat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little bit of a storm blowing up. It was kind of windy. That boat was unstable. I'm like, man, I do not feel comfortable with the idea. Even a couple of years from now, with Obi being on this thing by himself in Sardis, it just does not feel like a good idea. So I have been keeping my eyes open for something more stable. Now, again, in my 12-year-old son's perfect world, he wants about a 16-foot center console fishing boat.
Yeah, get that gator boat with all the lights on it and everything.
We didn't find that. But yeah, something along those lines with a flat platform that's sturdy. You can stand up in it.
Yeah, the most fun you'll do is bow fishing at night. So yeah. Got to do that.
Right. The old Facebook Marketplace popped up a couple of weeks ago, and there were some folks that were selling a 13-foot pontoon. Came from one of these neighborhoods that has like a lake in the neighborhood. Had an electric motor on it. I didn't really have much experience in that.
I've never used an electric motor other than a trolling motor.
Well, but this is I think the brand was Torpedo. Kind of pretty nice motors. So anyway, boat was in good shape. We looked at it. It needed to be cleaned up a little bit and whatnot. And, man, it's been an adventure because they didn't have a trailer for the boat. And so went and saw some folks in Grenada and bought an old trailer. It doesn't fit exactly, but, enough to get it out of the water. Obi's bringing it to me, and the motor goes out. And he burned a post off one of the marine batteries on there. And, they had to drag it out. So finally got it out of the water. And so Saturday was cleanup day. And I ordered this. I may only have one lung after this, just in fairness, but this spray bottle of aluminum pontoon cleaner.
Yeah, be careful with aluminum cleaner.
And, brother,
I burned my face on that
stuff.
stuff.
That thing did a number on about 12 layers of algae and pond scum and everything else. Suffice it to say, we're gonna move the Mercury motor from the fishing boat to the pontoon boat, and we got home last night, and I brought them both to the house. We were going to do the work, and I'd run some trash off and came back, and Obi was standing there in the driveway. He had on a pair of sweatpants and no shirt, and he's just standing there with a smile on his face. It's like, what's up? He's like, you know how good that motor's going to look on that other boat? So we are teaching lessons about financing. And
boat ownership, too,
yeah,
which is
that's right.
Turned over a new leaf in life once you own a boat.
Well, absolutely. He has discovered a money pit. But
they're great projects. Especially if you use them. If you don't use them, it's a waste. But
no, he's super, super excited about it. So that was a big part of Saturday. That's
awesome,
cool,
man. I love to hear that.
Really
it's good to, young buck getting ready to go, 12 years old, loves fishing. That age, it's such a forming time. It really is stuff that he's doing now. He's going to love and want to do the rest of his life. So it's great that he's learning a little bit about how to deal with some of the junk, because you get out there in the water and something goes wrong, kind of need to know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Been there many times. Had to swim boats in from Sardis, so that's not fun.
And that is no fun.
Not in the wake that you get out there, man. That's fun. A big lake, buddy, and that wind that cuts through there. I have a similar story quickly. A buddy of mine and I took a John boat from one side of the reservoir over to Pelican Cove, and it was beautiful weather. And we got over there and had a couple drinks and sat around, and then decided to take the John boat back. And it's, a good 4 miles, 3 miles, something like that. And a squall came up, and we're in that John boat, man. We're getting across the reservoir, deep water, and I did not think we were going to make it. We did, though, but it was one of those, when you get out in a John boat and that chop starts hitting, it's a little white knuckly. You know?
Yeah.
You live and learn quickly. Look at your forecast. It doesn't matter if you're just on the pond, man. That stuff can hit you quick.
It can get you in a hurry, and there are few things in life that are more miserable than being on the water. One, when a thunderstorm pops up, but it just rain. I mean you know the needles.
Yeah.
You know you're going across the water and it's raining and it just feels like acupuncture on steroids. I've never done acupuncture. I've got to assume that's what it feels like.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide either, really. You know?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, he's like, man, this motor's a beast.
He's ready to go. I mean, pontoon
he's so
boat.
Fired up.
Yeah, pontoon boat. You can get out there on Sardis and do some bow fishing. Oh, that'll be so much fun.
Like I said, best 2 days of boat ownership, the day you buy it, the day you sell it. Yeah. I know that's what they say, but...
Or in the other one, when you catch the biggest fish you've ever had and you get it mounted. You know, those are days, too. Don't forget about the good days in there. There's a lot of stuff you got to deal with in between, but the reason you get the boat so you can go have fun.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of work to do, but fun sometimes requires a little effort.
And you know what? It makes the fun more fun.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't duck hunt to go shoot
payoff.
ducks. I go duck hunting because of everything that requires to go through it and then get back and then lay on the couch and go, man, I accomplished that. I didn't shoot anything, but, man, I'm an outdoorsman. I can do this.
There you go. I said, like being in a motorcycle in heavy rain. Oh,
I see those guys all the time, and I'm like, man, that was bold. Bold.
I hope you got your leather. Yeah. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. About 20 minutes from now, I think about 20 minutes from now. Is that right on the clock? Yeah, Trey Lamar.
Right at 20.
Chairman Lamar going to join us. Represents District 8 from the Mississippi House of Representatives. Spent a little time in Washington, D.C. last week, not Washington State. Part of the Mississippi delegation that made a trip to our nation's capital. We will talk about that. Thompson Greenwood says only buying new boats and motors helps negate the 2 happy days general rule.
I've never had a new one, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the new stuff.
Yeah,
I got about 8 John boats that are from the 40s, so and motors to go with them. Yeah, the Widowmakers as we call them.
It's like if you added up the 8 of them, could you have gotten one?
Yeah, no, these are all my papaws and granddads. You know, I mean, these are inherited.
Yeah. Mornings with Richard Cross. We're back with you right after this.
That's getting there. That's getting more. From the Venable Glass Trap.
Back on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I was a dam builder across the river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into the wet concrete below. They buried me in that gray tomb that knows no sound, but I am still around. I'll always be around.
Good to be with you this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. Ready for your winning strategy? Tip of the day. Here it is. Join C-Spire. All the technology and support you need to succeed at home, at work, and everywhere else. Visit cspire.com today. C-Spire, inspired by you. C-Spire powers SuperTalk Mississippi. Powers the Mornings with Richard Cross studio. Powers my phone. Kind of powers my life. Good to be with you. Alongside Lance, I'm Richard. Senator Lindsey Graham was on with Trey Gowdy. And I don't know, you may or may not be a Trey Gowdy fan. He's an interesting listen. Kind of stilted in his delivery. He's got the poofy hair on top. But and look, Lindsey Graham's a lot for me. I have to take my Lindsey Graham in really small doses. But I thought his fairly concise statement on like worldview right now, where we are on the geopolitical world stage, was actually kind of interesting. Again, we know where Lindsey Graham stands on Russia, Iran, Israel, but he rolls it up into a nice, concise ball right here.
Iran's nuclear capability. Here's the way I see the world. The Ayatollah in Iran is a religious Nazi. He's been hurt bad between us and Israel. His nuclear ambitions have been obliterated but not completely destroyed, and you got to watch him. So he wants to kill all the Jews, purify Islam, and come after us. Putin wants to recreate the former Soviet Union, the Russian Empire. He wants to take countries that are not his. In the mid-90s, Ukraine gave up 1,700 nuclear weapons with a promise that their sovereignty would be respected by Russia. Putin broke that promise. He's not going to stop until somebody makes him stop. So Trump has been tough on Iran, who is incredibly dangerous, but they're in a weakened state. And Putin, your turn is coming. You know, Donald Trump is the Scotty Scheffler of American politics and foreign diplomacy, and he's about to put a whooping on your ass.
All right. That's Lindsey Graham right now.
Man, Lindsey coming off
Lindsey
the top.
Graham. Lindsey.
Had something in his coffee this morning.
Yeah. Well, that was yesterday morning or last night, I guess it was. He said that on Trey Gowdy's show on Fox. Said the Ayatollah is a religious Nazi. I love with the we obliterated but didn't completely destroy their nuclear capabilities.
That was a word salad on that one.
I feel like if we got a definition of those two words, they would be fairly similar. And by the way, regardless of how you feel about Russia and Ukraine, the characterization of Vladimir Putin and much of the old guard that still exists in Russia is absolutely accurate. There is a longing for the days of the motherland in Russia, the old Soviet motherland. They want a return to the USSR, to the Soviet Union, as it were. And they want all their land back, and like that's the dream.
Well, I think as well the dream would be more of a capitalistic version of that, which is kind of how they sell it now. You know, it's not communism and socialism anymore. We're going at it this new way. It's capitalism. We're all about money now. Mm-hmm. And so that's how they're selling it. But two pieces that I would say pay attention to the
Yes, but they want the money to have the control and the power to be able to reunify the motherland.
Well, and that's one of those that I would say not many people pay attention to Azerbaijan. Pay attention to that one. It's a border state between Iran and Russia. That's a very key piece of this equation. And then also pay attention to the Balkans, because you have some rumblings over there between the Muslims, Christians, and the Catholics, as we saw back in the Slobodan Milosevic days. These are Russian, either anti or very pro-Russia, and you got Iran mixed in there too. So it's an interesting place we find ourselves because you have issues that are developing that you're not really hearing about that could be part of this, the stick that stirs the drink a bit.
Yeah. Thomas says Lindsey Graham is nothing more than a warmongering butt kisser. He is likely the most worthless politician alive today, and he's in no danger of losing that title unless someone like Mark Levin runs for Congress and wins. Mark Levin, very pro-Israel. I mean, look, Lindsey Graham's part of the old guard in the Senate. He's been there forever. There are secrets buried on top of secrets on top of secrets. There's some people that like him, some people that don't. He keeps getting elected. I just kind of take Lindsey Graham for what he is. This message, the assertion that Russia and Putin wants to reestablish the boundaries of the USSR stem from a Putin quote. Do you know what it is? Did he say we want to reestablish the boundaries of the USSR? I'm being flippant. No, I do not specifically know the quote that you were talking about, but I do know that, from reading both fiction and nonfiction, like historical fiction and nonfiction, that old guard Russia, that's what they want. They want the reunification. They want the return to the Soviet motherland. Like that is the longing, that is the goal deep, deep, deep within the most powerful parts of their political wing.
Now, I remember he was a KGB guy. The wall falls. He has to kind of go back to normal life, has no real job, grew up poor, was bullied, little bitty kid.
Now he rides a zebra with no shirt on.
Well, and he's a judo guy. He likes to get in close. He wants to see what the other person or the opponent is going to do. Then he makes his moves. And I have a tendency to believe he plays politics and war much like he would in judo, where he's kind of waiting to see. He's done that with Trump some. Mm-hmm. Trump will go, Putin is great, and then all of a sudden at night, he starts bombing everybody. So, yeah. But that's kind of his way, and that's and now that you've seen the cat is out of the bag, you can't trust Putin. It's not like you.
Of course not.
Yeah, some people wanted to believe, well, we can work with him. We can work with him. We can work with him. I don't think you can work with Putin, and I don't think you can work with the Ayatollah. For any.
Right.
I think we've tried that. So I hate that war is the other option, but
When I say you can't trust anybody, I mean
I don't trust anybody.
Well,
been in politics,
I'm not being
never.
flippant when I say this. I mean, Israel is a close ally of the United States. Do you feel like as the United States you can explicitly trust Israel? No. They're spying on us like crazy. Yeah? Like Israeli Mossad people infiltrated all throughout our government, trying to flip our assets to work with them or be double agents. So no. Doesn't mean you can't trust them in narrow scopes. I mean, obviously, the United States trusted Israel explicitly in the Iranian campaign, and you have to. But I mean, the saying is keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Maybe it should be the other way around. Maybe it should be you got to keep your enemies close and your friends even closer, in terms of a watchful eye. Hey, this was Pete Hegseth. This was another story that popped up over the weekend. Apparently, as part of our cloud storage solutions for the Department of Defense, there were some Chinese contractors that were handling it. Pete Hegseth said, this can't happen anymore.
Earlier this week, we were alerted to a potential vulnerability in our DoD computer systems, and we've been checking into it ever since. It turns out that some tech companies have been using cheap Chinese labor to assist with DoD cloud services. This is obviously unacceptable, especially in today's digital threat environment. Now, this was a legacy system created over a decade ago during the Obama administration. But we have to ensure the digital systems that we use here at the Defense Department are ironclad and impenetrable. And that's why today I'm announcing that China will no longer have any involvement whatsoever in our cloud services effective immediately.
All right, so that's good news from the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Laura Loomer dug a little deeper on this, reached out to Microsoft. I mean, like, hey, what's up with this? Yes, it was authorized by Obama. She got a response. Hi, Laura. I help with media relations for Microsoft and wanted you to see the following, blah, blah, blah. In response to concerns raised earlier this week about U.S.-supervised foreign engineers, Microsoft has made changes to our support for U.S. government customers to assure that no China-based engineering teams are providing technical assistance for the DoD government cloud and related services. So they did not deny that it was happening. They said, we're not going to do that anymore. Thanks for pointing this out. If you got any other questions, let us know. I'm sure it was just, nobody that had anything to do with, compromising information.
Nothing to see here.
Anything else. Nothing to see here. Man, we deal with some crap. Segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Keeping Mississippi in the know, one morning at a time. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And talking in your sleep doesn't matter where you've been, as long as it was deep, yeah.
Once again, good morning to you. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We welcome you to join the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. C Spire, inspired by you. We are joined right now, this morning, by the chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the House of Representatives, Mr. Trey Lamar. Mr. Chairman, good morning.
Good morning, Richard. How you doing?
Doing well. Always appreciate some of your time. Although I'm curious. So, Speaker White, Representative Hall, Representative DeWeese, and Secretary Watson all made a video that was published from the White House website. You didn't make the cut on that during the trip to D.C. What happened there?
Well, we got to put our pretty faces up in front of the video. Some of us, that aren't quite so fortunate just get to sit behind and watch them, take the camera, and we're okay with that.
That's fair. Big delegation made the trip to the Capitol last week. Obviously, there's a lot that is happening in Republican politics with one big beautiful bill. That's at the federal level, but there's so much implication at the state level. Let's start big picture. What was the reasoning behind the trip for the Mississippi delegation to the Capitol?
Well, for me, it was actually twofold. I was invited to speak with a national transportation conference about the ways that Mississippi used the elimination of our income tax to find additional funding for roads and bridges across our state. And so that's obviously, Mississippi being the first state to actually put into law a full elimination of the income tax of states that have an income tax. We were also the first state to use that really as a tool, if you will, to help find in the days of limited funding to help find additional funding to fix roads and bridges across Mississippi, and really to modernize our transportation funding mechanisms. And so that was kind of a unique thing. So I was happy to go do that and share the Mississippi story on a national basis. I met with representatives from the state of Indiana as well as Washington State. Found out some of the things that they're doing in some of those states, and really it was a national conference. So I was happy to talk with those representatives and present with them, and then also learn what other states across the country are doing to bring better roads and bridges to their people. And I've had that set on my calendar for 3 months, and then probably about a month or so ago, the White House reached out to the legislative leadership here in Mississippi and wanted several of us to come up. And so it just happened to coincide at the same time over a few day span. And so that was kind of exciting. And last Tuesday, had 3 different meetings, 3 different times we were actually at the White House on Tuesday. And I'll say this, in my 14 years of serving in the legislature, no administration, none, has come close to doing anything similar to what the White House rolled out for us this past week. And I understand they're going to do it for several states as well. So it was really, really cool to be a part of that. I thought that it really helped the state leaders from our state kind of put a face and a name with some of the national policies that you hear about, and actually learn more about the federal policies that the Trump administration is pushing. And, better communication can only be a good thing. So we were really excited about it. And I thought it was a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, because as you were talking about, a delegation going from Mississippi to the White House, I was thinking, okay, I know that I'm relatively new still in this role, but I've kept up, and I don't remember hearing about that. Obviously, representatives at the local level and the state level go and meet with our congressional delegation in D.C., whether it's our representatives or senators, district-specific projects, but I don't remember this happening. So this is something that's kind of new in terms of the Trump administration saying, hey, we want congressional leadership from states that are partners of ours to come here to understand what we're doing, and like opening communication?
Yeah, without question. Like I said, in my 14 years doing this, I've never had one administration offer to do what the Trump administration is doing now. I understand that Mississippi is one of the first states to be extended this invitation, and so we were really excited about that. but it's going to be offered to this kind of a roadmap for other states. There will be other states that come after us, but no administration in my time has done anything orchestrated and organized to try to marry federal policy with state policy. And so, to have the Trump administration do that and to see firsthand how well it was organized. I mean, we had, I know of at least 3 cabinet positions, 3 secretaries that met personally with us, and I don't know how many deputy secretaries. Several of those met personally with us as well. Everything from law enforcement, the rule of law, DOJ, crime to education.
Who were the cabinet secretaries?
I know there was. We met with HUD. That guy is really, really sharp as well. We met with the education secretary, Secretary McMahon.
Right.
And there was one other that I can't recall off the top of my head, but numerous deputies as well, and just a fantastic program. Really spent the afternoon talking about policy. We were allowed to ask questions whenever we wanted to. We talked about measures that Mississippi has passed or measures that we have considered and hadn't made it across the finish line yet, and things that the Trump administration would ask that we consider going forward. And so that's never been done before in my 14 years in the legislature. So I'll say hats off to the Trump team and whoever thought about doing that. I don't know who it was, but it's really, really good policy and something that I hope can continue going forward.
Yeah. Scott Turner, I think, Secretary of HUD, that you were referencing a second ago. I think, if I remember correctly, in the cabinet meetings, he's the one that's been tasked with kind of praying before each meeting. But really impressive young guy.
Well, he preached to us a little bit last week too, which was fun to see.
Oh, really?
At some point in time, go look up his background and see where he comes from. He's got a pretty cool Mississippi story. He's got a football background, and played several years in the NFL. In the league, and just a good guy to sit down and listen to and hear his story. So I hopefully some of his policies can come that he was talking about can come to fruition. And he talked a lot about fatherlessness and really being bringing family back into the home and preaching a lot about that and talking a lot about that. And he's just got a good message. So I hope that some good policy can come from his time in that position.
Visiting with Chairman Trey Lamar, represents District 8, Tate County in northwest Mississippi. Washington, D.C. can be kind of a fishbowl sometime, and it's a big place but a small place as well. And I know you were there for a specific reason, but I'm curious what the information cycle is like. There's a lot going on with the Trump administration and global politics. What's kind of the inside the beltway talk that's happening right there?
Well, look, I think you just said it. Trump has got his hand in so many things. The big, beautiful bill had just passed when we were up there recently, but they were already on to last week debating, a spending cut bill, which just became on final passage and became law just in the last day or two. So, they're really rolling these things out. It'll be interesting to see how what Congress does the rest of the year. There are some things I know that the Congress wants to do, from transportation funding considerations to defense. I know Senator Wicker will be heavily involved in that, defense spending and some of the other things that need to go along with that. But it's a never-ending cycle, Richard. I don't know. We had a meeting in the West Wing and got to see some of that last Tuesday night, and we were. I think the listeners would enjoy hearing this. We had a meeting scheduled for 9:30. Well, at 9:30, we were still standing in line to go in and meet with the person that was going to be involved with showing us around the West Wing, and it was a lady that works in the Trump administration. I met her earlier in the day. She was giving us a personal tour of the West Wing, but we were not. We were on the list to see the big man, and so nobody goes in the West Wing until he's done working. Well, at 9:30 at night, he wasn't done working. We didn't even get to go in until about 10:30 that night.
Oh wow!
Because he was still in his office in there working. So, I think it's good for the Mississippi people, the American people, to know that. Obviously, I think it goes without saying that position is the most demanding position probably on the face of the earth. But you've got a man in there now that appears to be working his tail off to make America better. And I, for one, am excited and thankful for that.
Visiting with Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee of Mississippi, Trey Lamar. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we're going to talk about kind of turning the page toward the 2026 legislative session in Mississippi. And we know some of the topics that are going to be really, really big, but some of the concerns that existed this past year, not sure what funding was going to look like going forward. We've got this big pile of money sitting on the side. We have a more clear roadmap as to where that money can be spent. We'll talk about that coming up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Know where the news is going next. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
MRC on Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to be with you. Glad to be visiting with Chairman Trey Lamar this morning. He's at work early in his law office, ready to get the work of a barrister of the day off and going. But kind enough to spend a few minutes with us this morning. When you're talking about personal finance, you have an idea when you're budgeting how much money you're going to come in, and you know the things that you have to pay for, and you know the things that you want to pay for. I guess every great once in a while you end up with money you didn't expect, and sometimes it's just burning a hole in your pocket, and sometimes you end up with money you didn't expect, and you already know where it has to be spent. You're like, okay, these outstanding things need to be paid for. It's spoken for before it even gets into my account. I don't know which is the better way to describe Mississippi right now. We talked a lot this past legislative session about there are things that we don't know as it pertains to the federal government because of what the Trump administration may or may not do, things that have been funded that maybe won't be in the future. But we did know that we were sitting on a big pile of money on the side. And a lot of that didn't get spent this past year, but there were places it needed to be spent, or certainly it could be spent. So as we look toward 2026 with reportedly a couple of $1 billion in the bank for the state of Mississippi, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I think we can all agree that is a good thing, but there is stuff that needs to be done. Where's that money going to be spent?
Well, let's be clear, Richard. There were some that took the position that the sky is falling. That's not me. That's not the position that I took. In fact, some may say, well, that was the conservative approach to take. Now, I think conservative policy that the legislature ended up coming together and passing, was the bold leadership that our state needs. And I think you've seen, just take back to our previous segment just a few minutes ago. I got to share Mississippi's story with the entire country last week with legislators and leaders in the transportation space from California to New York, really all 50 states, to show how Mississippi put forward the elimination of our income tax and use that as a tool to put more focus and more resources into roads and bridges, which is without question a core function of government. So, these states were getting up there wanting to talk about how they were raising taxes, and I was like, well, Mississippi took a different approach. We cut taxes, and that allowed us to put more of our resources into roads and bridges, and they all, their heads started spinning. They couldn't understand that. They want to know how we did it, and I walked them through the 10-year plan that we had going back to 2016 and the vision that we had. And there were some that wanted to, put their foot down and be a roadblock to that as that became law in 2024. And they used this whole, in 2025, earlier this year, and they used this whole mantra that the sky is falling as an excuse to not do it. Well, thankfully, we didn't let that get in the way. The sky is not falling. The Trump administration is going to do hopefully exactly what, the majority of what Donald Trump said he was going to do on the campaign trail, and the Republican Congress is backing him on that because that's what the American people expect. And so as a result of that, we did not get to spend some of our money that we would normally put into infrastructure projects across the state. And we're sitting on $2+ billion on top of our rainy day fund. So people doesn't need to say, well, they need to save that. Well, we've got the money, 10% of our budget set aside that we save. This is $2+ billion that we've got on top of our savings account for Mississippi. And so
let me interrupt just for a second. So the savings accounts, the rainy day fund, about $700 million, give or take.
Yeah, it's statutorily required to be right at 10% of our budget. So right at $700 to $710 million,
Okay.
right in that ballpark.
All right.
And so that's money that we don't touch. That's for the rainy day, and that's what I kept telling people. We've got the rainy day taken care of. We've got that set aside, and we've had to use it, in previous years during my tenure. And so that's there. We've got a proven track record of using it when we need to. And so this other money that's just sitting there, that's the taxpayers' money that needs to be given back to them by way of infrastructure projects in their districts. We've got huge needs with not just roads and bridges, but rural water. The places that I live and the places that I represent, these people, they want to be able to flush their toilet, and they want to be able to turn their kitchen sink on and know that they're going to have water coming out of it. And there's a huge need with rural water across Mississippi. I'm not talking about the Jacksons of the world. I'm talking about, the places out in the country where, rural water associations serve so many of our rural Mississippians. And that's really the way of life that is Mississippi in my mind. And so, we've got needs all over the state. And I haven't even mentioned some of the education needs that we've got. We've got, our higher education places from Ole Miss to Mississippi State to Southern Miss, and our HBCUs, they've got real needs. Our 15 community colleges across the state, they've got real needs. I represent, I'm a little biased, but I represent one of the best right here in Senatobia with Northwest. They've got real needs. And so Mississippi shouldn't be sitting on $2+ billion beating our chest that the sky's falling. The sky's not falling. Donald Trump is doing exactly what the American people hired him to do, and Mississippi's going to be right there with them, leading the way with bold initiatives and bold thought. And part of that's going to be investing this $2+ billion in places from the Tennessee state line to the Mississippi Gulf Coast and everywhere in between in ways that are going to make the quality of life in Mississippi better for Mississippians.
Chairman of House Ways and Means, Trey Lamar, thanks for your time on this Monday morning. Hope the summer's going well, and look forward to visiting with you again soon.
Thank you, Richard. Always look forward to it, and do it again soon.
Mornings with Richard Cross, 8 o'clock hour, coming up with you right after the news. We're back after this.
No filibuster. Just everything you need to know to start your day smarter. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
That was a fast 2 hours. Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour, this Monday morning edition of Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. We are glad to be with you. I'm Richard Cross. Lance Tolbert in the studio. He's spinning records and making jokes during the breaks and chipping in, and spent a lot of time texting me this weekend.
I sent you a great infomercial, yeah.
I'm like, brother, you need to find a hobby.
My hobby is research, man. That's when you do this 6 days a week.
I know.
Handymanning and gardening and politicking. Yeah, you gotta just get it done when you can.
We get a message on the C Spire text line, which is open to you. 601-879-4395. Your team has you covered on the field. C Spire has you covered everywhere else with the best technology for homework and on the go. Backed by local 24/7 customer support. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. 601-879-4395. Well, IHL, the Institutes of Higher Learning, get capital expense money if House special projects are not approved next session, or is that still a requirement by the House? Well, what we know right now is that IHL and individual colleges and universities did not get special projects funding this year, and there are some construction projects that were slated to begin on campuses that are now on hold as a result of some of that money not being allocated this year. And it's not something that has been talked about a lot in a loud and public forum, for whatever reason. But that is one piece of fallout. Now, does that mean that universities are not spending money, that they're not doing construction projects? No, it doesn't. But there are some projects in Oxford and Starkville and Hattiesburg and Jackson and in other places that were scheduled to get rolling that are now on hold because some of that money was sitting on the sideline. And look, there's some other IHL related issues that we're going to talk about over the next few months before the start of the 2026 legislative session. Still doing some research on some things, still gathering some information on some things. But there are some issues as it pertains to IHL that are concerning. I saw a quote from Dr. Mark Keenum at Mississippi State just, I think I read it last week, but I think it was something that he said from a couple of weeks ago. Mississippi State releasing its budget for the year, and it's actually a little bit less than had been requested or than they had forecast. And I may not have the facts exactly right on that. But his point was the state's got a bunch of money sitting on the side, and we're backing off funding. That doesn't make a lot of sense. There are a lot of people that feel that way. But we know how the session ended. We know how the special session ended as well. And I think what Chairman Lamar pointed out is worth remembering. We say, we've got this $2 billion, and people go, oh, well, you can't spend all your money. You got to keep some money in the savings account. Statutorily, by statute, the state of Mississippi is required to have 10% of its operating budget in cash reserves. So there's about $700 million sitting in that rainy day fund, that savings account for emergency situations, in addition to the roughly $2 billion that is unspent. And Trey Lamar said when we were talking a second ago, he said there's some that say, hey, that was a conservative approach. I guess two different definitions of conservative, like conservative in the way that you spend money versus conservative as a noun, like a conservative, another name for a Republican, which are not always synonymous. And he said he disagreed with that premise, that he did not think that was a conservative approach, that a conservative approach is when you've got taxpayer money sitting there that is money for the people, that it needs to be spent on the things that the people need and the people want. And, I think responsible expenditure is reasonable. Spending it just because you've got it to spend is not always what makes the most sense. But yeah, we're going to have there's a lot going on at the state institutions of higher learning level that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about through the fall. I promise you that. JT Mitchell will join us about half an hour from right now. The Washington Commanders were thought to be getting a new football stadium. They may or may not. The Commanders may or may not. But could the Washington Redskins be getting a new football stadium? You know about MAGA, Make America Great Again. You know about MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. Do you know about MIGA? Donald Trump is threatening to hold up a new stadium deal for Washington's NFL team if it does not restore its old name of the Redskins, which many considered offensive to Native Americans. Trump said Sunday that he wants also Cleveland's baseball team, the Cleveland Guardians, to revert to their former name, the Cleveland Indians, saying that there was a big clamoring for this as well. The Washington Commanders and Cleveland Guardians have had their current name since 2022, and both have said that they have no plans to change them back. Trump said, well, if Washington wants a new football stadium in the District of Columbia, then they may just have to do that. Said the team would be much more valuable if they restored their old name. Trump said, quote, I may put a restriction on them that if they don't change back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of that ridiculous moniker Commanders, I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The Washington Redskins, in the old way in which they operated and were branded, had one of the most iconic uniforms, helmets, and names in all of professional sports, as did the Cleveland Indians. Was it Chief Wahoo, I believe it was the Indian mascot. It had that Indian head logo.
I loved it.
On the hat. Just an iconic Major League Baseball uniform. And now it looks like they were like an AI-created like Transformers team with the Guardians logo. Latest interest from Trump in changing the name reflects the broader effort to roll back changes that followed a national debate on cultural sensitivity and racial justice. The team announced that it would drop the Redskins name and the Indian head logo in 2020 during a broader reckoning with systemic racism and police brutality. The Commanders and the District of Columbia government announced a deal earlier this year to build a new home for the football team at the site of the old RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., the place the franchise called home for more than 3 decades. They have been in Landover, Maryland for the last 20 years or so. We'll see. We will see where this one goes. But there was a tweet, or actually it was a Truth Social post. I have to read this to you in its entirety because it is written in a way that only the president could write it. My statement on the Washington Redskins is totally blown up, but only in a very positive way. I may put a restriction on them that if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders, I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The team would be much more valuable and the deal would be more exciting for everyone. Cleveland should do the same with the Cleveland Indians. The owner of the Cleveland baseball team, Matt Dolan, who is very political, has lost 3 elections in a row because of that ridiculous name change. What he doesn't understand is that if he changed the name back to the Cleveland Indians, he might actually win an election. Indians are being treated very unfairly. Make Indians great again, MIGA! ! I am disappointed that there is not a thank you for your attention to this matter tag at the end of that Truth Social post from Donald J. Trump.
Leaving no stone unturned.
C-Spire text line, I'd like to know why the legislature voted for a 2.9% budget cut at junior colleges in Mississippi. I can't seem to find any answers. Trying to cut expense anywhere they can. Is that the right place to do it? That is certainly up for debate. Good to be with you this morning. MRC, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Trump was busy this weekend on Truth Social. Posted what he said was evidence of mortgage fraud by Adam Schiff. Stephen Miller had some stuff to say about Schiff as well. And Amy Klobuchar talking about why it is that Democrats didn't do anything about Epstein when they were in power. We're back with you right after this. More coming up.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Yourself a cup of coffee and get the Magnolia State's most important news of the day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
C-Spire text line. Trump is literally throwing anything against the wall to change the topic from Epstein. I'm actually going to disagree with you on that. Hey, welcome to the last 6 months where the Trump administration has moved at warp speed and they have done anything but themselves into a single issue. I mean, because the Epstein story is there, a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are talking about it. But I don't think Trump's intentionally trying to change the subject. If he was trying to change the subject, would he have dropped the $10 billion lawsuit on the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch specifically as it pertains to Epstein? And by the way, is AOC about to get sued by Trump when she very casually threw out that he was a rapist?
I'm curious what they'll do with Nancy Pelosi slandering and libeling President Trump regarding Epstein and repeatedly stating, "Oh, I wonder what Epstein has on Trump. What does Epstein have on Trump? And then what does Putin have on Trump? And at what point do we revisit that craziness?"
Trump this week did continue his attack on Adam Schiff, but all he did was really post a document that was signed and notarized. On Truth Social, he said, "Adam Schiff is a thief. He should be prosecuted just like they tried to prosecute me and everyone else. The only difference is we were totally innocent. It was all a giant hoax." And then he highlighted and posted a copy of an affidavit made pursuant to Section 12-108G3 of the Tax Property Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland that said the undersigned make this oath in due form of law and under the penalties of perjury that the following is true to the best of our knowledge. Number one, that we are the original mortgagors of the deed of trust recorded in the land records of the County of Montgomery, State of Maryland. Two, that the mortgaged property is our principal residence. Three, that the amount of unpaid principal on the original deed of trust being refinanced is $556,991.34. Dated 4 November 2011, signed Adam B. Schiff and Eve M. Schiff, and notarized. Despite the fact that he is a representative from the state of California, claims that his primary residence is in Maryland, and was taking the tax breaks related to primary residence in Maryland, despite the fact that spending more time in California.
Well, and flip side
just
of that,
outright fraud. I mean, look,
well, if you have
ever filed homestead, you have to file and sign and have notarized that you are living in your primary residence where you are filing for your homestead tax break. And if you lie about that, it is fraud. It is mortgage fraud.
Yeah, on top of that, too, as well, you have to disclose whether it's your primary or secondary because the interest rate that is going to be bestowed upon you has bearing on that. So
that's right.
Yeah, so you're going to not only get the homestead exemption savings, but you're also screwing the banks out of interest that you should have paid them given the titling and the style of asset you're holding.
If you go and get a mortgage on your house, I'm just using loose numbers. I get that these are probably undervalued a little bit. Let's say you go get a 30-year conventional mortgage on your house at 5.5%. That is a rate that is available for primary residence financing. If you buy an investment property or a second home that is not your primary home, you are not able to get conventional primary residence mortgage financing. You might have to pay 7.5% or 8% on a second home or an investment property. Just the way banks work. There are lots and lots and lots of different financial tools that are in place for you to buy properties. But the point that Lance makes is a good one. It is a real one. You get better interest rates on your primary residence than you do on investment properties or secondary properties. Now, is that something that you got to go to jail for? I don't know. I mean, I guess you could.
It's mortgage fraud, so whatever the penalties are, that's what the penalties are.
Stephen Miller did not hold back with Jesse Waters when talking a little bit about Adam Schiff. I mean, this is about as strong as it can get from, let's see if I've got that. Thought that I had it pulled up where we could go to that, but maybe, let's see here. Here we go. Sorry, different computer. All right, this is Stephen Miller with Jesse Waters.
Not only a stone cold, hopeless loser, but he is one of the most corrupt, one of the most shameful, one of the most heinous individuals ever to serve in public office in America. And everything he's devoted his life to has been debunked, discredited, and discarded. He literally represents the face of failure. His sole achievement in life was fighting a losing war against Donald Trump, and now President Trump is in the White House, and Adam Schiff is the leader of a dying and dethroned movement. This is, it really is amazing. Think about what the Democrat Party is fighting against. What are they trying to stop?
Stephen Miller. How does he really feel about Adam Schiff? Somebody brought up Epstein a second ago. Epstein's been brought up a lot. In fact, you have some news talk show hosts who have asked questions of Democrats about why they didn't do something about Epstein and the files that they so now desperately want released and unredacted in their full glory. Amy Klobuchar was one of those. She was on with Jake Tapper on State of the Union. Jake Tapper asked her a direct question. She answered a different question, but here you go.
But it's true that the president says there, Democrats didn't really seem to do anything about the Epstein files throughout the 4 years of the Biden administration. I mean, should you have? You sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Just since you're not watching the video, Jake Tapper starts down this road. Big smile from Amy Klobuchar. She's ready for this one.
Senator Marsha Blackburn for years has been trying to get flight records and other information about Epstein released, and she seems to have been the only one on that committee trying to do so.
So the president blaming Democrats for this disaster, Jake, is like that CEO that got caught on camera blaming Coldplay, okay? Like, this is his making.
All right. What about the Biden administration? They could have done something about the Epstein stuff in 4 years. Jake Tapper asked Klobuchar. She says, it doesn't really matter. I'll mention Coldplay and deflect the question. Her response is not, well, and some of the other responses that we've seen when Democrat lawmakers have been asked this question is, we were busy with other things. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sending money to illegals. It was one of them.
Busy with other things.
Laundering money over in Ukraine. Many other, getting Fauci pardoned.
Yeah.
Very big stuff. Oh yeah, don't forget about Seattle being taken over by homeless. We can go on and on and on about the big, wonderful things the Democrats had their hands full with, instead of dealing with a predator that everybody knew was. Yeah, come on, man, give me a break, Dems. Just say our bad. Whoops, we could have done something. I think people would appreciate that at some point. If you go, we made a mistake. Our bad. We will never do that again. But you double down. You triple down. And the insanity continues.
It does. You saw the video clip perhaps floating around this weekend with all of the government officials, starting with President Barack Obama and including Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. No one is above the law, especially the President of the United States. We're going to get to the point where people just won't say anything because everything they say comes back and bites them in the hiney.
Well, you should think before you speak. There was an art form of that at one point in time in this country, maybe even in the world, where you had to put together a thoughtful sentence or maybe paragraph before you opened your mouth. Because as they say, the more you talk, the more you act like an idiot. People are going to figure it out, and I think that's where we are.
I recognize that we have not unpacked today, and we just need a little bit. And maybe there's going to be more information today that will make it a more relevant conversation even tomorrow. But the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing what appears to be pretty credible information that not only was Russian collusion not real, but it was actually made up and directed by former President Barack Obama in consultation with Hillary Clinton's campaign for president and John Brennan and a bunch of others. True, this is a big deal. JT Mitchell next.
Shaping Mississippi politics each morning. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk Mississippi.
From the Super Talk Mississippi news team, news director JT Mitchell joins us on this Monday morning, the 21st of July. It is hot, and it's going to get hotter throughout the course of the day. We'll start here. We're actually going to start, JT, not in the Magnolia State today. We're going to start in Westbury, New York. Have you seen this story?
No, I don't think at least.
A man was pulled into an MRI machine in New York after he walked into the room wearing a large chain necklace. There was an MRI scan that was going on Wednesday afternoon last week at Nassau Open MRI. And this fella just bebops into the scan room wearing a big chain necklace. If you are familiar at all with an MRI machine, you know that it radiates a large, strong magnetic field, one that is said to be strong enough that it can, like, topple a wheelchair across the room. And so this guy's chain necklace had enough metal in it that the magnetic waves from the MRI machine grabbed him and pulled him inside the machine, setting off a medical episode. Left the man hospitalized in critical condition. How are you allowed to just walk into a room where an MRI is being performed?
Hey, I lied. I did see this. That was my question, too, was do they not lock the doors? Or
was there not a nurse or somebody behind the little cubicle wall going, hey, you can't come in here?
Yeah.
Like, they won't even let you stand out in the open when they take an x-ray of your kid and they've got the big lead, over the part that's not being x-rayed.
And
like,
he died.
Hey, you're going to stand back.
Which is terrible. It killed him. But did you see how big his chain was? 20 pounds.
Hey.
So that thing sucked him right in.
Workout in and of itself. So, yeah, he passed away, right?
He did.
Ooh, tough way to go.
But I'm
not making light of it. Like,
yeah.
Tough way to go, but still.
And I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know how they go about with the rooms, if there's somebody on watch for the case of a guy trying to walk in, or if they're supposed to lock it. Is there supposed to be a light? Like, we have lights outside this door.
Say on air.
That say on air, don't come in.
Mm-hmm.
MRI happening, don't come in.
But if you happen to walk through those big, heavy doors into the studio where you're sitting right now, there's not a magnetic field that's going to grab you by the nape of the neck and rip you across the room.
We'd have less people intruding.
Perhaps that is the case. JT Mitchell is with us. Oh, by the way, just a tip we got on the C Spire text line, just in case you decide to do any reporting on the Tulsi Gabbard story about the Russia collusion and whatever. Before you swallow the bait laid out by Tulsi, recommended that we read the Senate report on Russian actions during the 2016 election that was chaired by Marco Rubio. So just a heads up before you need to make sure you got all your ducks in a row. What's up, buddy? I did not know that you were an author. I only discovered this last week that the Pocket Grammar book is yours.
Well, thank you.
I was bragging on it, man. I love that book.
No, I have not made millions yet. But if anybody out there wants to know the easiest way to navigate the English language, Pocket Grammar, 24 Mistakes You'll Never Make Again, can be ordered online. And I will greatly appreciate it for the royalties I get.
There you go.
But
they're not super expensive, are they?
Oh, they're cheap. They're great for, sticking in your backpack, pocket, briefcase. We have one in the newsroom that gets used relatively often, especially when you face stuff like affect versus effect, further versus farther.
Your, there.
Of course. Got it in there.
It's and it's.
That's exactly right. It's in there.
Have you got a part and a part?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Two very different meanings.
They are two very different meanings, and the English language is difficult. And I've noticed, we
you don't believe it. Just look around.
That's right. And, sometimes I can kind of track the sales and where they come from. And I've noticed that elementary school students have really enjoyed them. But then people who are moving to the U.S. or live outside the U.S. and are trying to learn how to speak English or write English properly, because it's difficult. It's hard to speak, but it's even harder to write if you don't know it.
Largely, our teachers do an exceptional job. There are some, just based on emails that I've seen or flyers that have come home, that the Pocket Grammar Guide by J.T. Mitchell might even be helpful for teachers.
Hey, and if you're a teacher, if you email me, jtmitchell@supertalk.fm, I'll give you a free copy.
Oh, giving them away. Yep. That's not going to help with royalties.
It's not, but it will help with the future.
Amen. Listen to you. For the people.
He's a top 40 under 40 for a reason, folks. Smart guy here.
All right. Smith County, helicopter crash avoided. What are the deets?
Well, the deets are that there are no injuries, which is great. No injuries. Yesterday afternoon, a medical helicopter was going from Hattiesburg to Jackson, and they had some mechanical issues. And so the pilot, he did exactly what he was taught. He made an emergency landing, and they got everybody down on the ground. And then air care from UMC came in. This was in Smith County, right off SCR 57. Air care from UMC came in, got the patient, took him to Jackson, and then all of your first responders made sure everyone else on board was okay. And disaster was avoided. That is always good, especially, you may remember, Richard, in March, the medical helicopter that crashed in Canton and unfortunately killed 3 people. I mean, just terrible. And I'm very, very, very glad that did not happen yesterday.
Amen. I mean, just couldn't say it any more clearly.
And I'm glad I don't have more details because there are none. It is a open and closed case. Everybody is fine. Big shout out to everybody who responded. I know AMR, all the law enforcement agencies, and then, of course, UMC for making sure the patient was able to get to where they were going to get the treatment they needed.
Yeah. I think it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that ESPN with SportsCenter did a 50 states in 50 days kind of promotional deal. And one of the places in Mississippi that they came when they did the 50 states in 50 days was the Neshoba County Fair. ESPN and SportsCenter is returning to the Neshoba County Fair this year. What's the story there?
I got more deets for you. The story is that you're right. 2005, 20 years ago on the dot, was the last time that ESPN did its programming called SportsCenter Across America.
Okay.
And this was a fan favorite. People loved it, and I do not know why they stopped it, but they did. And some inside baseball here. ESPN's releasing this all-encompassing streaming service this September, and they even note this in the press release. They're doing different stuff like this revival of SportsCenter Across America to build up some anticipation. But either way, Mississippi is benefiting, and so what was SportsCenter Across America is now SportsCenter 50 States in 50 days.
Okay.
And on Tuesday, July 29th, they'll be right here in Philadelphia, Mississippi for the Neshoba County Fair. SportsCenter anchor Shay Cornett, she'll be reporting not only from the midway, but also from atop a horse right there on the red clay. And so they'll cover the races. They'll talk to fairgoers about what it's like to follow sports in Mississippi. And then throughout the day, they'll kind of go back in history, at least from up there in Bristol, Connecticut, where ESPN is headquartered, and they'll look back at some of the stories that happened on the field, on the court, that made Mississippi sports be what they are. You know, a prime example that comes to mind for me, especially when you're talking about the area, Philadelphia and Neshoba County, is Marcus Dupree. I imagine Marcus Dupree will be mentioned. There was a great What's that show ESPN does where they deep dive?
30 for 30.
30 for 30. There was a great episode on that on Marcus Dupree. I'm sure Steve McNair will be brought up. The Mannings will be brought up. There are plenty of people to be brought up. And so it's going to be a cool deal. It really is. And so this 7-week tour that ESPN launched started last month and will end next month. Mississippi will be the 34th stop live from the Neshoba County Fair. Just like isn't Mornings with Richard Cross going to be there as well?
That is my understanding. I think there's some debate as to whether or not it's going to be for 1 day or 2 days. I know that we will be there on the 31st. Possible that we'll be there on the 30th as well, but that is to be determined.
Well, that's good. That's good stuff.
It's possible that it has been determined, and I just don't know. But regardless, yes, SuperTalk Mississippi will be at the Neshoba County Fair, where it will either be hot and dusty or wet and muddy.
Yes,
those are the only two options.
And your shoes will be red.
It could be hot and muddy, I suppose.
Everything will be red.
Everything red. No matter the conditions, shoes will be red. Sweat will be on forehead.
The best that never was the ESPN 30 for 30 about Marcus Dupree, and it was a follow-up to the great book by Willie Morris, The Courting of Marcus Dupree, one of the wildest recruiting sagas that you could ever read. And what an incredible athlete Marcus Dupree was. And he's been active in the business community for a number of years now as well. Specifically the cannabis business community. Yeah, absolutely. Had a couple of more highlights with JT Mitchell as we wrap things up on Mornings with Richard Cross with you right after this.
The Venable Glass Traffic Center.
Mornings with Richard Cross here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the SuperTalk app.
Sweet Jane, sweet, sweet Jane, waiting for Jimmy down in the alley, waiting there for him to come back.
Believe the number is 40. 40 days until the start of the college football season. Last week we had SEC Media Days in Atlanta. This week it's Sunbelt Media Days in New Orleans. And one of the stories of Sunbelt Media Days is going to be the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles and new head football coach Charles Huff, a team that went 1-11 a year ago, got their sights set on a much better season in 2025.
I was thinking about that this morning. Can you remember a 1-11 team that had this much hype?
Nah. Not really. I mean, I think it's rare that you see a team perform as poorly as that team did a year ago and then expect there to be a massive turnaround, but we're in a different era, buddy. It's a new time in college football. Got a chance to flip that roster.
I don't even remember what Colorado's record was before Coach Prime.
They won 2 games.
Okay, so pretty similar. Well, there is a lot of hype, at least in the Sun Belt, about this year's Southern Miss team. As we just said, 1-11 a year ago, but a completely revamped roster under new head coach Charles Huff, who, by the way, won the Sun Belt Championship a year ago at Marshall, but decided it'd be better to be in Hattiesburg. And so he will be, but Charles Huff, Braylon Braxton, and Chris Jones will be in New Orleans tomorrow for Sun Belt Media Days. The event is Tuesday and Wednesday. Southern Miss will take the stage on day 1 at 2 p.m., and we'll, of course, be covering with articles and audio. But if you want to watch, the entire event will be aired nationally on ESPN+.
All right, very good. And obviously the news team will have that, as will Sports Talk Mississippi in the afternoons this week between 3 and 6. Tell me about the National Folk Festival that is coming to Jackson. We've got the big book festival coming up. We talked about that last week, and then the Folk Festival as well.
This is a big deal that I don't believe enough people are talking about, at least not yet. So the National Folk Festival is the largest traveling folk festival in American history. It was founded in 1934, championed by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, and recent stops have been Nashville, St. Louis, Salisbury, Maryland, Greensboro, North Carolina. But this year, and for the next 3 years, they've decided to make Jackson their home. So Jackson, Mississippi will be the first city in this state to get to host the National Folk Festival.
Okay.
It'll be a 3-year residency. Over 300 artists will either take the stage or set up a display in downtown Jackson. I think you'll have 6 different stages set up. November 7th through the 9th, you got Bobby Rush, you got the Sonic Boom of the South, and you have, I think as of now, 10 states with different artists coming in, and that number will only grow. And the best part about this whole deal, Richard, is it is FREE free. You do not have to pay to get in. There are not many music or arts festivals that are like that. And so this is a really big deal. And I'm trying to get more people to know about it.
Okay.
Because November 7th through the 9th in downtown Jackson, the National Folk Festival will be taking place. And over 3 years, the projections that the festival is putting out, 330,000 people will attend. Wow. A $60 million economic impact for the capital city.
Outstanding. And I mentioned a second the book festival, which is coming up this fall as well. Now, I understand that not everybody consults a football calendar when planning things in the fall, but that is going to be a busy football weekend, and yet there is an expectation that thousands of people are going to attend this Mississippi Book Festival.
And thousands of people will. I know it will be football season, but as somebody who has been on Author's Alley for 3 of the past 4 years, I am thankful they moved it from August to September.
Okay.
I mean, even that month helps with a few degrees, because 2 years ago it was 101 out there, and I'm just sweating bullets trying to sell pocket grammars. But then last year in September, it was much nicer. You had a breeze going. It was 90 instead of 100. But yeah, this year on September 13th, on the grounds of the state capitol, as well as at Galloway Methodist Church, over 80 panelists, including Pulitzer Prize winners, New York Times bestsellers, they'll all convene. There will be plenty to do. Even if you aren't a book lover, there's plenty to do.
Yeah, one of the headliners this year is the author of the book Fight, which I just finished not too long ago, and is a really, really good book. There are co-authors on it. I can't find it in my Audible right this second. But anyway, thanks, JT. Great to see you, man.
Thanks, Richard. Good to see you too.
Lance, thank you. Good work on this Monday morning. What do you say we do it again tomorrow?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. Try to stay cool if you got to be outside. Remember to drink lots of water and take it easy every now and then. Have a great day. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.